It is now 4:32 p.m. in Central Time, and I'm calling this meeting of Student Senate General Assembly to order on June 27th, 2024. Don't have a gavel, but is that pretty loud? Loud enough. Perfect. Okay. This meeting is now being recorded. Let's just read some of the opening statements. Welcome to our General Assembly meeting for the Madison College Student Senate. This is a public meeting and it'll be recorded for transparency and record-keeping purposes. We're going to cover a few basic items before beginning. If you lose connection at any point during the meeting, you can reconnect by clicking the link or calling the number in your original email. To senators and attendees online, if you're able, please activate your video and keep it on for the duration of the meeting. Use the raise hand feature when you'd like to be called, recognize to speak, ask questions, or request a roll call vote. As chair, I'll do my best to call on committee members in the order in which hands are raised. Lowering your hand will take you out of the queue. At this point, we can move on to the roll call. VP Tao.
I'm starting the roll call. Roll call starts now. Executive Council President Brito.
Here I am, present.
Vice President of Administration and Finance, Yilong, present. Vice President of Legislative Affairs, Hashmi.
Present.
Vice President of Team Development, Salifo.
She's excused.
Excuse. Vice President of Public Relationship, Megosha.
Cole, did you hear anything from her?
I have not.
Okay, we'll put it absent for now then.
Advisor Cole, present.
Present.
Present. And senators from Trucks campus, Senator Avila.
Present.
Senator Bragman.
I'm sorry, I should have taken her off the list. I'm no longer on the list.
Senator Sierra Brunner.
She's excused.
Senator Kamara.
Present.
Senator Castens.
Present.
Senator Jacobson.
Present.
Senator Juf.
She's excused.
Senator Oviedo.
Also excused.
Senator Tinoco.
We're going to mark him as excused.
Excuse. Senator Wilkin.
Present.
Senator from regional and metro campuses, Portage Senator Crowder.
Present.
Reesburg Senator Stacy Bronner.
Oh, excused, my bad.
Excuse. Fort Atkinson Senator Dirks.
He should be coming. He's a little late, but when he comes, we'll just mark him as present. He should be coming.
Okay. Goodman South Senator Bissonnet.
Present.
Present. Quorum met.
Thank you very much. Okay. Now moving on to the approval of the previous meeting minutes. Did we have a chance to review the minutes? I sent them out in the email. They're in the SharePoint. Did anyone have any issues with the minutes? I see a raised hand from Hassan.
I thought we were gonna have guests today.
We do not. Do you see somewhere where we have guests?
No, I think I misunderstood because Cole sent out a message saying that we gonna have virtual something, so I thought the guest also gonna be virtual.
Oh, no guests today. Don't worry. I sometimes do listen to you, VP Hashmi. So don't worry. We deferred that to next week. So no worries. Senator Wilkin.
Yeah, I just wanted to motion to approve the previous meeting minutes.
Motion made by Senator Wilkin. Do I hear a second?
I second that.
Second by VP Hashmi. Vote by unanimous approval. If there's no opposed, then the motion passes to pass the previous meeting minutes. Do I hear any opposition in 5, 3, 2, 1? No opposition recorded. Therefore, the motion passes. The meeting minutes are approved. Reading and approval of the meeting agenda, I will say that I did make a mistake that our next meeting will actually be, so VP Tao pointed this out, our next meeting will actually be on Thursday, July 11th. I just didn't catch that update. So if someone just wants to approve that amended friendly statement there, but I do see a hand from former day Senator Crowder now.
Thank you. I was just going to say I'm abstaining from approving the minutes just because I wasn't at the meeting. And then I'll make a motion to make that addition to the agenda.
Okay, we'll mark that in the notes that you abstained from that. I think that makes a lot of sense. Motion to approve the current agenda. Would that be with, would you be willing to take I don't know, I'll just update it with the next meeting. Okay, cool. Friendly amendment since I made it and I'm the chairperson on this. Do I hear a second? I see a raised hand from someone. Senator Karstens. Thank you very much. It's been properly moved. Yes, been properly moved and seconded. Do I hear any discussion? Okay. No points there. So if we can do a vote of unanimous approval, if there's no opposition, then the motion passes. Do we hear any opposition to passing the meeting agenda? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, last chance. 0. Motion passes. Meeting agenda approved with that little amendment to update our next meeting. Moving on to public comment. Cole, did we hear anything from anyone last minute?
I have not received any notification at this time.
Okay, no public comment then. Disclosures and recusals. Just reading a standard statement that I have. If any member would like to disclose any partnerships, affiliations, associations, ownerships, etc., regarding any of the business items up for discussion, only for the items that we will vote on, for none of the committees, none of those reports, just unfinished business, new business, and non-business. Anything to report from anyone? Going once, going twice?
I guess, would this be, you said this is only for the business portion, sorry?
Yes, for items that we'll be voting on or taking up for discussion.
Okay, never mind then.
Okay, well now I'm curious, but that'll be another time. Thank you very much. We can move on to the agenda. Reports from officers, advisors, and standing committees, executive council, and president report. I've got a doozy of one. So for us, we'll be continuing Senate summer training, beginning to appoint Senate members to committees and council positions by late July, 7/25, to begin legislative work. That means that we'll be beginning to open up those applications, hopefully to be turned in by Friday, July 12th, and then our discussion will be made, decisions will be made by the executive council on Thursday, July 18th, and they'll be announcing it on July 25th. That's our timeline for that. So keep an eye out for on Monday, or I don't know, Cole, can you get that out sooner potentially?
Yes, we will work forward in getting the interest survey sent out. However, point of clarification, just for all to be aware, is that some of our other committees or councils that we do serve on are in fluctuation at the moment. So later today, we'll discuss standing committees. We will get that information out here soon. However, any ad hoc committees or councils at large that we usually serve on are in fluctuation at this time per conversation with Director Rome today. So please be advised.
Okay, perfect. So not final, but we'll discuss it during his report as well. In other news, we did appoint General Senator Layla Jacobson to the Inclusion Belonging Coordinator position. So, congratulations. I don't know if I'll do a silent one because I don't want the clap to get in the way, but there will
That's
come a
great
day when
news.
when you're physically on campus again, I'll clap and you'll know exactly why I'm clapping for you. So that's a promise.
Thank you, guys.
Okay. Moving on. Lando should be coming very soon, according to Snapchat, but appointed Fort Atkinson Senator Lando Dirks to the communications coordinator position. So he's not here right now, should be coming soon, but congratulations to Lando when he comes. So a smaller applause since he's not here physically, but here with us in spirit. So that's good. Over at University of La Crosse. Student Senate is continuing to work on the issue of eligibility for students to sit on hiring committees, especially for advisor positions within student life, for which students do pay for via the student activities fee, which will also go to the student activities board for commentary. More on that later. Senate executive members Kai Brito and Nohaya Salifu. We're here at the NACA Student Government Institute. We've met a lot of people. We're talking about team development, coalition building, collaborative programming, and student advocacy on campus. Generally, we'll talk about it next time, but three major ideas that we had: common hours where no academic programming is scheduled, so students, faculty, and staff can plan strategic meetings during the day, potentially between 12:30 and 1:30 p.m. on Tuesdays, Thursdays. We'll have to workshop it, but more on that later. Expanding reflection room to including additional interfaith space and redistributing leftover food to students after dining services closes. This is just a snippet of the ideas that we discussed here. Obviously, there's so many more, but these are like the top three that me and Nohaya kind of solidified on. We'll talk about it with E-Team, and then we'll bring it to you about what we want to do. And then obviously everyone will have some input on how we're going to move forward. But maybe it's none of those ideas, but if you generally like them, we can discuss them at a later date when we have that discussion next time. We're going to do a presentation at the next meeting, so that's when you'll hear more about it. And lastly, a Senate executive team is planning to host a day-long in-person training event for Senate members to learn about the student governance process, develop ideas for how to improve the student body, and establish camaraderie between our fellow Senate members. Once we have more information on that, we'll be letting you know. We just want to let you know that there's some ideas in the works, and we'll keep giving you some small little tidbits to keep you updated. Lastly, I just wanted to defer to Senator Karstens and Senator Avila if you wanted to do any updates on the SGIT, Shared Governance Implementation Team, since I wasn't really able there to share my opinions today. So if you'd like to, I yield my time to you two. Yep, you can go for it since I gave you the command.
Okay, so I wasn't able to stay for the whole time, but we have started addressing the charges of each of the councils, figuring out what work they actually do and how the work they do aligns with Vision 2030. For those of you that are not familiar with Vision 2030, it is the kind of next iteration of the strategic plan for Madison College. It has been approved by the district board, and it is how they will be moving forward. So as Advisor Cole was talking about, some of those councils may go away, others may be restructured, but today we were addressing the work that they do and how it relates to the 6 commitments of Vision 2030.
I see, Annette, you have your hand raised.
I just had one question. Did they share, or do you guys have a copy of the Vision 2030? Because I didn't see the final on it. I mean, I was on the committee, but they didn't send us a final. I just remember our last discussion before the semester ended.
If we don't have that already in our possession, which I think, Mac, we might, if we don't already have it, I can get that to you like over the weekend once I'm back and have some time to like decompress. But if we don't already have it, we can just ask Mark Thomas for it and like make it available to everyone.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah,
Yep.
I feel like we should have it available. I think it's either in our inbox or it might be in our team or our SharePoint. So Kai and I will dig around for it.
Angel, do you want to add anything, Senator Avila?
Yeah, actually, Senator Carson actually did a good portrayal of the information. Overall, they divide us by groups, and my group was really emphasizing about the diversity, inclusion, and equality. How we are staff is engaging and actually having the tools to actually meet those needs. So this is my opinion. Probably sharing a little bit of that insight will help them out to actually have more of an idea. Thank you.
Thank you both for sharing. Okay, moving on. We can go to the Administration and Finance Committee. Anything from you, VP Toe?
No reports.
Okay. Legislative Affairs Committee, VP Hashmi.
Currently, no report.
Okay. Thank you. Team Development Committee, VP Slifu excused. Public Relations Committee, VP Magosha. Is she here yet? I don't think I see her in the. I do not.
She's absent.
She's what?
She's absent.
Okay, perfect. Advisor report, Advisor Calio Crito.
Thank you very much, President Brito. So a couple things for us all to just know and be aware of. So as was mentioned prior a couple times, standing committee update. So we are working to get the interest form out as soon as we are able to gauge what standing committees you all may be interested in participating in as it relates to Senate. As you all might be aware, you are all asked or needing to participate in at least 2 extra committee/council responsibilities. If I'm speaking incorrectly, please somebody do correct me, as I have been reviewing a lot of information today. And I wanted to show something to you all just so that we are all on the same page with what we are talking about. Kai, you are the person on my screen. Can you see my screen that I am sharing?
Yes, I see it.
Thank you. So I wanted to quick talk about our standing committees because these are the committees that are related specifically to Senate. And so we have 5 that are listed here. However, 2 of them tend to run together. So I just quick wanted to talk about them. So we have the Finance Committee, which is chaired by our VP of Administration and Finance, oversee budget, 3-year plan, club funding, etc. The Legislative Affairs Committee and the Rules Committee tend to run into the same. If we have enough people, we typically can have 2 separate committees, but at times these will run together. And so with that, what will happen is that the VP of Legislative Affairs will oversee the Rules Committee as well as working with the Legislative Affairs Committee and reviewing certain aspects as is stated there below. There's a lot to say there, so I don't want to, talk at length about that. And we'll continue. Team Development Committee, Public Relations Committee, again, you can see where what is kind of expected within that, and those are chaired by the respective VP positions that we have brought onto our team. Now, what I will say is that I am working currently to try and create specific bullet points of what are the responsibilities of each committee so that we have a clear understanding of what they should be working on during the school year. It was kind of shown to me and it was kind of explained to me as well that some of these committees we were not really sure what do they do. Or there wasn't a lot of work to do. And so I'm trying to do my best to make sure that we have as much ability as possible to get work done with these committees, especially when it comes to resolutions and bills that are coming forward and referring those to the proper committees so that we can make sure that we are getting as much input as possible and providing those necessary, the necessary commentary on it to ensure that it's supporting the student voice and amplifying it in the most proper way. We also do have 2 ad hoc committees. These are committees that are as needed. Currently, we have the Textbook Affordability Committee. I believe I'd have to go back. There is one other committee I know that Senator Crowder has discussed in the past as well, and the Public Safety Advisory Committee. Again, these will tend to happen. Give me one second, President Brito. Do tend to occur. However, our what we want to highlight and make sure that we have enough folks on the standing committees. I will not talk about the councils at length right now. However, what I will say is that with these councils, once we know the finality of some of them, we will be able to work in placing those of you who are interested in working on those specific councils. President Brito, I saw your hand.
Yeah, so like the way it works, these ad hoc committees are like additional. The standing committees are kind of the way you get legislative work done with Senate. So we just ideally want people to be on those. And some of these ad hoc committees have more staying power, but there's a couple of other random things going on, like the shared governance implementation team is kind of like a work group, if you want to think of it that way. So like if you were on that, that might come up, and like having a senator on that, like that's like an additional thing. And there's usually financial compensation offered with that. So we're gonna have to work through it and see how we split our responsibilities, but just making sure that everyone knows how the core team works, and then figuring out how we're gonna make ourselves present throughout the rest of the school to it and make basically achieve work. Senator Carson's.
I know Vice Cole didn't speak on it, but I did just want to share the timeline for some of those councils. We might not find out if they exist until end of August, beginning of September. So I don't think it'd be wrong to express interest, but be aware that it may not exist in a few months' time.
True. And maybe we can have a discussion about that the next meeting, so that we can kind of clarify all that. So good point. Senator Crowder.
I think I was just basically going to ask a question if you guys have any ideas of which of the committees may not exist, keeping in mind that that may not actually be the case. Just kind of curious.
Do you want to go for it, Mac, or should I?
So I think there are 3 on the potential chopping block. DCRC and IEC are 2 of them. I would like to clarify, we are not getting rid of DCRC because it is not important. It is extremely important. It is just that Dr. Grady's office has really taken up the mantle of diversity and community relations. So some of their work is just not quite as impactful. We did discuss there maybe being a representative of DCRC on every council, though.
Yeah, Annette.
What's IEC, please?
Institutional Effectiveness Council.
Thank you. I couldn't remember. And I was just going to say, I'm not surprised about the DCRC. There was discussions about that at our meeting too, last couple.
Yeah, the other one is Student Affairs. They're talking about picking that up into Academic Council. It's a discussion. Nothing's set in stone yet. These are just ideas. Anything else, Cole?
Yes, a couple more, and I'll be quick with it as we're running out of time. Thank you all for your commentary. I do greatly appreciate it, as it does educate me as well, and I appreciate that. Wolfpack Welcome Collaboration and Tabling. Historically, Student Senate has assisted in the tabling as well as some of the operation of Wolfpack Welcome orientations that will be taking place in, I believe it is either end of July, beginning of August, all the way through the end of August. And so with that, I'll be working with VP Magosha to start soliciting interest and support of that. I will be at all of the Wolfpack welcomes, but we will look for anyone and everyone from Senate to participate as we can. This is not an all hands on deck. This is as many hands as possible on deck, because I do want to respect schedules. However, I think it's extremely important for us to kind of put ourselves out there and show what is Senate about and the support we have for students, especially to our new students that are coming on in. If you are interested in wanting to pick up a couple extra hours of work in August, we are still hiring orientation leaders. Director Rome and I are working through the interview process. We will be doing the hiring and the training. Basically, with this position, you are going to work with all of our new students who are showing up to our Wolfpack welcomes and kind of assisting in breaking the ice and getting them comfortable with campus. These students are already enrolled and ready to go. We are just looking for someone to kind of help bridge the gap of making it exciting to come to campus. If you have interest, this position is still posted on Handshake. You can apply for it. We are doing rolling applications. Lastly, this is going to be a conversation for our next meeting, but for you all to review, as we just talked about bylaws, our attendance policies for the semesters, for the fall and spring semester, as it relates to being virtual versus in person. What do our bylaws state and how does that operate? Just something I want to put out there for everyone to review, as I know I've been giving everyone kind of these updates of things to be aware of. I also have a reference sheet coming to you all here, hopefully in the next couple of days, that is going to help you in understanding some more of the ins and outs of Senate so that you don't have to search through a bunch of documents. It's a one-page front and back that should help you get the ins and outs of it all. That's a lot of information at once. Any questions for myself? I yield.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much. We can move on to reports from special and select committees. The Student Activities Board, President Brito, for the time being. Only update is that we'll be scheduling our first meeting this summer for sometime in mid to potentially late July. So that's all I got for you there. Any questions? Seeing none, we can move on. Sorry, just transitioning between screens. Textbook Affordability Committee, Senator C.R. Brenner, not present. Student Parent Support Group, Senator Crowder.
So we did meet at the beginning of June. I believe it was June 5th. We more or less started talking about rules and regulations, trying to figure out what we might have forgotten about and how to apply them across all the campuses. We still don't have our data back from the survey, so we're still waiting to hear on that. And I believe she thought it would be back possibly next month, maybe the following month. It was just hard to go through it all. So, and I have a question. Does that fall into an ad hoc committee? Because once it's done, it's done.
We can talk about that later. I don't have the answer to that right now.
Okay, I just thought I'd throw that out.
I'm sorry.
No, you're
That's
fine.
a good question. No, it's a good question. Okay, moving on. Inclusion and Belonging Coordinator, now filled. No report needed to be given, Layla, unless you wanted to give, I don't know, some sort of like acceptance speech on why you wanted it. No pressure. You can say no report if you don't want to say anything since you're not scheduled on this.
I don't have an acceptance speech, but I'm really happy about the opportunity and I'm excited to do that. So there's that.
Okay, thank you very much for sharing. Okay, moving on to reports from regional metro campuses. Reedsburg, Senator Stacey Brenner, not present. Watertown, vacant. Portage, Senator Crowder.
No report.
Thank you.
Let me make a correction on that. I'm sorry. I met the regional director for all of the satellite campuses twice, I think, last week. We happened to be in the same. She came to the Baraboo Juneteenth Day event, and then she was also at SOC for another event that they were at. So made a contact more or less, and she's in charge of all of the regional campuses.
That's good to hear. We'll have to talk more about that later. VP Hashmi.
I was just curious, do you know by any chance what's her name?
I do. It's in my phone because, of course, I got her number. But I can't get to it right now because I'm on the phone. I can't remember names that well. I'm elderly.
Advisor Calio Croteau.
I will add that information, name and email address to our minutes as they are someone that's been in some previous meetings that we've been a part of, so I can make that public information available to y'all.
Okay, perfect. Is that everything? Okay, sounds like it. Moving on, Fort Atkinson, Senator Dirks, not present. Goodman South, Senator Bissonnette.
No report.
Okay, thank you. Reports from College Assembly and Shared Governance Councils. College Assembly, President Brito. I think I had something. No report for that one. Sorry, I should switch between screens. Academic Council is currently vacant. Diversity Community Relations Council, Senator Crowder, you kind of already gave that report, but anything to add?
So we had a meeting as well on June 5th. I'm assuming that's the Wednesday, but we did not make quorum. We just kind of chatted about the fact that the committee was possibly going away, and that, as I mentioned in previous meetings, the goal is to basically build the DCRC lens into everything that's being done at the college. And so I guess when you look at it from that perspective, it makes perfect sense because we really didn't have much to do. I mean, I don't know, nothing was really happening like I expected it to. So I'm looking forward to see how this works.
And with some leftover time, I just wanted to, praise our Senator Karstens, who had a unique idea to, if it were to be, disbanded like they wanted to, what if we had a seat dedicated to diversity, equity, and inclusion on each of the other academic councils? So it was a very popular idea. So praise. Have to give people credit where credit's due. Okay. Perfect. Moving on. Facilities Planning Investment Council.
Senator Crowder has her hand up.
Sorry, I didn't know you were raising your physical hand. My apologies.
So we had talked about that at previous meetings, and I feel like Demaya Grady was kind of on the fence about it because of the fact that he really wanted everyone to just start looking at everything from an equity lens. But I mean, it was something that was brought up at our committee too earlier on. So I just thought I'd mention that. That's it. Thank you.
Yeah, we can talk more about it later. I think there was some, it wasn't like a fully, I don't know. There were some ideas, so we'll talk about it later. Thank you. Moving on, Facilities Planning Investment Council currently vacant. Finance Council, President Brito, I have a statement to read. So in the Finance Council, there was feedback requested from the IT Council on their interest statement. We gave general approval with some commentary on potential cost-saving measures. So Angel, perhaps I'm taking your thunder, but that was the general thing that came up during Finance Council related to that. We had further discussion of our 100% tuition refund drop deadline extension, which focused mainly on how instructors would notify students who need to drop out of class after semester have already begun, and also on students who keep classes on reserve, like in their wish list, up until the start of the academic semester. We need to further investigate how other schools in the WTCS or the Wisconsin Technical College system, how they implement their rules, which are mandated by the state. At this time, the most we have the power to do immediately is to have all the dropped courses account as having happened on 12 o'clock a.m. on the first day classes begin, so that students can receive the 100% refund on that first day. So let me just explain that a little further. You drop a class, let's say the class begins at 12 p.m. and it goes from 12 p.m. to 12:50, or let's just say 12 to 1 p.m. to make it simple. You drop after the class, you're like, I don't really like that class. And plus, I realize it doesn't really work because, I have to go immediately to this other place. I'm actually going to be late. I need to drop this course. Well, as it currently stands, you wouldn't get 100% of refund because the class already happened. But now with this new rule they're talking about implementing, not going to happen yet, it hopefully does, anything dropped on that day will count as having dropped it at midnight before the class happens. So it'll be retroactive. So you could drop it at 6 p.m. that evening. Let's say you have like a work shift that goes from like 2 p.m. to 10 p.m. and then you get off of work and you're like, oh shoot, I need to drop this course before midnight. You can drop it and it will count as if you had dropped it before the class began. So just to give people some flexible options on that first day. Another news, hand raised, yes. From two people, let's go with Crowder first and then VP Hashmi after.
So this might be just a touch off subject, but is there any type of requirement for example, I'll give you just a prime example, summer school teachers to respond to students when they request to see a copy of their syllabus to see if they're able to maintain the level of work that's being had, or to let you know because they don't have a wait list for a class? And I'm asking because I wanted to take social media marketing this summer just for my own personal gain. And the class was maxed. There was no wait list to go on. So I emailed the teacher, never got a response. And then just out of curiosity, after summer school had started, I went and checked and some people had dropped, but I still never got a response from the teacher. And I just think that's kind of BS because I could have, joined in after I'd taken a look at the syllabus to see if it was going to be too much for me to handle during the summer.
We can do a follow-up later, but because I feel like that goes into our next meeting where we want to do like an academic affairs like discussion about what you want to know more about. But I do know that Senator Carson's, he's had an immediate hand raise. So if this is related to that topic, you can go. Is this immediate response or is this something else?
Yeah. So this might be loosely tied to it, but there is the Academic Affairs Council did pass a policy that said instructors have to provide grades within 7 days and they have to provide feedback within 24 hours. It might not be the same, seeing as how this is communication and not necessarily feedback related to your academics or your coursework. But in that realm. So something to think about when we do discuss academic affairs in 2 weeks.
Yeah, we don't have an answer immediately right now, but we're going to add it to the list because we're going to do a review of everything because, I know that Senator Kamina had something to say. I know that VP Hashmi, you had some ideas about that. I think Senator or VP Tao, you also had some things. So we're just going to add it to the list. We're going to have a big deep dive discussion. So fear not, we'll get to it. But for now, VP Hashmi.
Yeah, I was just curious when you Kai were saying about dropping the class at like around 12 a.m. or 6 p.m. Is that like 5% into class or 10% into a class, or like a day or two into a class? What do you mean? What is the time period?
Currently, as it stands now, we can only do it on the day of the first day of class. Like, let's say it's the first week of class, and you have a class that only meets on Thursdays. So because school starts on a Monday, that doesn't count. It only starts on the first day the class is offered. So if there's a Thursday and the first, because if Monday first day classes starts, it doesn't count for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. It only starts on Thursday. You go to the class that comes from noon to 1 p.m. and then you drop it right after. Like, yeah, this is not for me. You get a full 100% refund. You can drop it at any point right before 11:59 p.m. on that day. 100% refund. Any point after that, only 80%. It's immediate cutoff because that's just a state law. So we're working around to see what we can do. We're going to be bringing in the retainer for Madison College at some point. I don't know when that's going to happen, but that's like an idea that we had. I'll continue to update you on that with the Finance Council, but these are things we're talking about. If you want to know more, I can send you those documents too. And honestly, at some point, I'll be creating a shared governance meeting folder where you can get all the documents we have. Just I'm currently, in Indiana, so we'll get around to it. Yes, and Senator Cutter, something quick here.
Yeah. Can you just add one more thing under that to find out whether or not teachers can ask you to sign like legal documentation? Because I just know a student who transferred classes last minute or after meeting with that teacher because they were requesting that they must have had some sort of problem with another student. And so they had all of the students signing some sort of form like legal. Yeah.
We might need to ask the provost or the registrar about that. So adding it to the list, I have it written down, and I think Cole's got it too.
Thank you.
Yeah, I feel like no more time for questions at this point. Just wanted to bring up the last thing. That next meeting is Friday, July 19th at 9 a.m. Moving on, we can go to pulling up the agenda. Information Technology Council, Senator Avila.
How we doing, everybody? So we actually we meet today and at 1:30. We actually were having meetings, loop back meetings with different departments and committees to actually address some of the concerns and ideas that they had. And we brought them today to the meeting, and we were analyzing them and trying to bring solutions to them as well. And we talk about the TAP program. I wanted to actually mention this because we have the IT department in Madison Technical College. They actually, if you cannot afford a computer, they actually will make you sign one. They can give you one, so you can use it for the year or the term that you're gonna be on Madison Technical College. And as well, they have the hotspots for the internet. If you don't have one, they actually provide it as well, no fee. But at the end of your service in the institution, there's a charge if you do not return them. Thank you.
Sorry about that. Let's move back to the agenda. Thank you very much, Senator Villa. The Institutional Effectiveness Council, vacant. Student Affairs Council, currently vacant. Moving on to unfinished business, resolution number 2, Juneteenth, Senator Crowder. If I'm just going to pull this up on the screen, so I'll be sharing my screen so we can all look at it. Sorry, I was just adding myself in. Some last minute edits here, but as a recap, last week we had a discussion about the resolution. So some of the changes immediately off the bat, we got rid of that gaudy symbol. This one's still here. It'll still be on the official legislation, but for ease of access for people to read, we removed that so that it's not confusing. So there's that. We just had a discussion about, like what the value of this is and putting things in there. We also said that we're going to read resolutions out loud the first time they're introduced. It's not written into the bylaws. So currently it's just going to be a practice that we have. There's no rule saying we have to do that, but perhaps maybe Hashmi can make us have to do it in the future when we do a bylaws review and propose our first bill. But for now, since I'm in Indiana and we're, working on moving up towards that, I'm just gonna say that we're gonna do it, which is gonna be our thing that we internally enforce. But otherwise, VP Crowder, if you want to take the reins here after that summary.
All right, so do I need to read this out loud or was it read at the last meeting?
We read it at the last meeting. How do we feel? Do we need to read it again, or are we at that point of discussion, Advisor Kelly Okucha?
I believe it's point of interest. We just had discussed that there was some verbiage that you were updating. Could you just review the part of the verbiage that was updated? I think that would just be the most beneficial thing, as we did review this prior.
Yep, the only thing that was changed was that there is some leftover language from the other bill, so just updated this to say policies against Black and African communities within administrative bodies and shared governance. So that was the only thing that was updated. I did just also add myself into here because I thought that I noticed that I wasn't in there and that we hadn't been putting it in there. So we'll have to find a new way to mark it, but it'll be like a special abstain if we voted on it. So I'll come up with that, but I think that's something that we should just have because I think it is weird to not have the president on there. So nothing saying we can't have that. I know it's like you do abstain being the chair, but I just wanted to put myself in there. So those are the two things that changed.
Okay. So the only thing I had for notations on the on a resolution, I don't know if we want to make any more changes to it or not. It's not a requirement. It's something that could be done in the future, I guess, too. But so I did want the Black and African students included. And I didn't really know how to do this, but acknowledging the fact of allies and allies' contributions, I guess that really resonated with me from going on our trip to Milwaukee and learning about some allies that I had never known that it really contributed to making change. And so I just thought I'd mention that and see what people think about it. Otherwise, overall, I'm good to go. I'd be happy to answer any questions otherwise.
What if we added it here in the resolution justification, staff and the wider community as allies?
I think that would be great.
I do not know how to spell. Is that right?
And I appreciate that. I hope everyone agrees with it because I just think it's really important to mention that none of us succeed on our own. We're all getting help from somewhere.
Does anyone have any major commentary? I can only see so many screens on my little phone device. Don't see any hands. I think some of the people the last time they wanted to, you had the commentary to make things a little easier. Do you feel like things are easier to understand now? Do you feel like we sent it out ahead of time? Like I'm trying to address these concerns so that not only so that this specific resolution can pass, but in the future, we want to make the process easier. Because yeah, I just want to know what you're thinking. So really, I'm just going to ask Senator Carson. Well, I mean, I don't know, maybe it doesn't feel great, but I would like to put you on the spot because I think that your opinion is valuable here. So if you'd like to speak, you can.
Yeah, I'm fine with it. I mean, I think my biggest concerns were legibility. I mean, we can draft bills like this. I don't see there being a reason to having all this stuff and then we can put in our watermarks later. So this is great. I never disagreed with the resolution. You know, I think recognizing June 19th is an important day to be recognized. So yes, I would prefer to receive bills and resolutions. This is a personal thing, so take it with a grain of salt. But a couple days before we start discussing them, before we come to a meeting where we have to vote on them, you know, we're not the US Senate. We don't throw bills on people's desks 6 hours before we vote on them. So let's just, I guess, yeah, make sure that, and I agree with reading things out loud. You know, I think that, you know, once we say things, we might realize that maybe some language needs to change in it. Generally speaking, though, I'm fine to move towards a vote.
Yeah, and I just want to say the only reason is that I don't know, it's just an oversight on my part. We haven't done this before. It'll become easier as things moving forward. So yeah, I don't know, technically was in line with the rules, but yeah, it's better to give people more notice. Yes, it's just this specific time didn't happen, but generally, yes, I did put the other ones in 2 weeks ahead of time. So generally, I do try to make note of that, just didn't this time. So my bad. Ownership. I think I saw a hand raised from Cameron first and then Angel. Senator Wilken.
Yeah, it's not necessarily a concern, it's more just a comment. As far as the legibility, I think, at least what I remember from when it was shown 2 weeks ago, the problem was that it was behind it, but we were showing it in dark mode on Word, whereas if it was in like white mode, it would have been okay and it would have looked fine. And I honestly, I think it takes away from the resolutions and bills when the formatting is different from previous ones. I don't know. I just think it looks not as professional than it used to.
Just to point it out, we're going to put it back in. This is just for legibility's sake.
Gotcha.
When it's official, it comes with a seal. This is just so that when people read it, it's a simple way to read and it's not visually challenging. So yeah, we'll be keeping that consistency with it. It's just temporary so that when people read it, they don't look at it. So once everything's passed, we'll just add on some of the fancy stuff like the seals and any other consistency type language or formatting, and then it'll go. Does that sound good?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Perfect. Senator Avila.
I actually just want to say shout out to Senator Crowder, President Brito, and Senator Wilken. Personally, I had never heard about the Juneteenth. It was new for me when this was presented. I participated as much as I could in the activity that they had, the parade with the president. So it was really enriching, actually being able to be exposed to this culture and the history behind it. So please, I encourage everybody to actually do the same. If you got ideas and concepts, please feel free to bring them up. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for sharing that. Senator Avila and I, Angel Angel, sorry, and I went to the Juneteenth event in Madison, like South Side, and we ran into our former president Giovanni Michaud. So that was really fun. I know that Senator Crowder went to the one in I think it's Baraboo, unless it's in Portage. Can't remember for sure, but oh yes, you can say it, Annette.
I was gonna say, yeah, I went to the one in Madison too. I just got there really late. Or not really late, but later than you guys. I ran into Giovanni. But I wanted to say also that I think we should think about utilizing the student news section more. If you guys go on to student news, I wrote a brief article about Juneteenth Day explaining why Juneteenth Day existed. But I wonder if we need to consider publishing some of our bills there too, because it's another place to reach out to students. So you can include like a piece of artwork or a flyer, and then we can kind of explain it in short-term language.
Yeah, definitely something we consider the E-team and figure out how to do that, and we can take some time to explore that for some of our media advocacy. So thank you for sharing that. At this point, is there any more discussion? Or how are we feeling about this overall? I'm not seeing any hands, so I don't know if that means that you really like it or you really don't, but the next step would be either to make a motion to, lay it on to postpone it, or to vote on it. Okay, I see a hand raised from Senator Carstens.
I motion to move to a vote.
Okay, and I see a second or a potential second from Senator Crowder. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, it's been properly moved and seconded to take it to a vote. Any discussion? Any further discussion? Not seeing any hands in my little carousel of opinions. So at that point, then, if VP Tao, if you'd like to do it, or if you want me to do it, since I have it open, I could do it. To take the voting record. What do you think, VP Tao? Are you up for the challenge right now?
I can do it, but you have already got the documents, so I assume you can.
Okay.
You can
I don't think there's anything requiring that you do it. I think it's just typically we had been doing it that way. But okay, so at this point, we'll now be calling the voting record. So for President Brito, I will have a special abstain since I'm chairing the meeting. I'll just write that down at the bottom at some point. VP Administration and Finance, Yilong Tao.
Aye.
Thank you. VP Legislative Affairs, Hassan Hashmi.
Yes, I go with it.
Thank you. VP Team Development, Ohio Salifu is absent or excused. VP Public Relations, Melina Magosha is not currently here. Senator Angel Angel Avila.
Aye.
Senator Sierra Brunner is absent. Senator Ibrima Kamara.
Yes.
Thank you. Senator Mackenzie Carstens.
Aye.
All right. Senator Layla Jacobson.
Aye.
Thank you. Senator Margaret Joof is absent or excused. Senator Justin Oviedo is excused. Senator Patricio Tinoco is excused. Senator Cameron Wilkin.
Aye.
Thank you. Portage Senator Annette B. Crowder.
Aye.
Thank you. Reedsburg Senator Stacey Brunner is currently excused. Watertown Senator is currently vacant. Fort Atkinson Senator Lando Dirks didn't make it to this meeting, I guess. So, well, we'll move on. Goodman South Senator Sylvia Bissonette.
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, let's do a tally. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9, 0, and a technical abstention. I'll denote that later, but with that, the ayes have it. The motion passes, or the resolution passes. My apologies. So thank you very much. That was our hopefully a lot easier than the last resolution that we passed. Hopefully people understand things by going through them and having a very open, collaborative process. And we figured some things out and made the process easier for the next time we have one. So thank you everyone for contributing. We can move on the agenda now to our next one is an overview of the attendance sheet. So that'll be VP Tao and myself. Did you want to take over or should I run the, should I drive?
I'm not sure
Okay.
about the sheet. How about you?
Okay, I'll share the screen and then you can talk. So let me share my screen now. Oops, I did it wrong. And it's on screen.
I think our virtual attendance record will start next week. So before today, they did all trainings, and I think majority of us gained as present in the attendance record. Only I believe only Tinako has 3 absences.
Yep, and we can go to point totals here. We weren't really calculating them out yet, but this is where your point totals will be. And VP Tao will be the ones in charge of that. There's a little discussion of how the rules work a little bit here. But generally, put in your information here for the date. Today is 6/27, so we'll just go here. Oops. Oh, yep, that works. So that works. We'll do time in, I don't know, 10 o'clock. And you'll see how things have been entered there. And then you don't need to put this. You can if you want, but VP Tao will be checking this. Present. Maybe I was late to this, and you'll see how that works here. It'll auto calculate after the date passes. So let's say that this were 6/14. Oh, today is the 27th. Let's say this were 6/10. Now you'll see I got points here, but it doesn't accumulate until after the week is already passed. So we'll reset it there, but just something to note. I forgot which day it was. I think it was 6/17. Yep, so that seems correct there, but those are the kind of things to note, and that's how you'd be filling it out. VP Crowder? Oh, sorry,
I just wanted to mention that former Senator Hur and I made an how-to for entering hours. I think I sent that to President Burrito and our new advisor Cole. So once they get a chance to review it and decide whether they like it or not or want it redone, that might be helpful for everyone to have.
Everyone, I'm eating. I don't get lunch. I don't get dinner. I'm trying to have Nohaya deliver it to me, so my apologies. But generally, do you have any questions about this? I don't see any hands. Elon, did you want to add anything?
Sure, I can ask some general questions. So can senators work online for the office hours?
Yes. So you would just mark it as out.
And what should senators put in the description of business conducted?
Yep, so perhaps you read meeting minutes and agenda reviewed resolution number 002, and then I don't know, Senate Blackboard training. So that probably took you like, I don't know, probably took you 2 hours to do all that. You mark it there. There's your 2 hours that you had, and you did all that at once, and you wrote what you did, and there's the outcome right there. So just generally logging your hours and seeing how well you're keeping committed to your duty as Senate. So this is a summer training period to do that. Does that make sense? I think I see a hand raised from Hassan, VP Hashmi.
Yeah. So what is the date that, could you remind me, what is the date that we're gonna start doing this?
Monday, July 1st. It goes from July 1st to July 14th. You have 2 weeks to do for you 4 hours. Everyone else. So E-team does 4 hours over 2 weeks. And E-team does 4 hours over 2 weeks, and general senators do 2 hours over 2 weeks. Really nothing that much. You have a lot of time to do that, just to train you, get you in the mindset, the habit of doing that during the semester. Does that make sense? Senator Jacobson?
Yeah, so as inclusion diversity or inclusion blogging coordinator, my apologies, would that raise the hour requirement for that? That's what I was assuming. I just wanted to be 100% certain on that.
Currently, as it stands, no. Those
No?
count towards your normal hours.
Okay, that's what I was. Yep. Okay, but thank you.
Yep, it's not written into our bylaws to do that yet. Potentially, that could change in the future, but that would come with a role change. As it currently stands, that just wouldn't fall within your role because you're still a general senator. So good on you. It favors you and your time, VP Hashmi.
Yeah, I was just wondering if our executive consult meeting counts towards my hours or our hours.
Anything you do to prepare for it counts. But we are required to show up for these meetings, so those don't count. But if you miss a meeting, like let's say President Kai has been bad, he was late to that meeting and he was absent here, that's going to look really bad when it comes down to points. Because, I don't know, 7-1 to 7-14, let's just pretend it's 6-1. That's 2.5 points for being absent and late and not filling out any hours. So those will count towards your penalty. And you can get 10 points during the semester. But yes, you do have to show up for those things. Otherwise, you'll get points, and that can lead to dismissal without doing the appeal. So it would be interesting if our VP Legislative Affairs, who will administer the appeal, ended up with that. But we'll figure something out. But I believe in you, Hassan. So don't think it'll come to that. Any other questions, Hassan, before we move on to Net?
Sorry, is being excused part of the point deducted?
Nope. So you'll see here how it changed. So like if it's present, it's nothing. Excuse is also nothing. If it's late, it's half a point. And if it's absent, you get a full point. So that's what it'd be. So you'll see here. So like doing present reduced it. So it went from 3 points here. But let's say I went to it, I fulfilled my duty, I only get 2 points now. So that's how that works. First. Senator Crowder?
I thought we should just maybe mention some of the things that are covered for hours, like for example, what the advisor was talking about, attending and tabling. And I didn't know if you wanted to mention any.
Yeah, so we were going to be doing kind of a review of, Senate office hours next week. So in my mind, I thought I was going to discuss it next week once it's established, but it makes sense to do it now. So yes, things that count towards it. The Senate Blackboard training would count towards it. If you met with a senator, like doing a meet and greet, that would count towards it. If you, reviewed the Senate meeting minutes and agenda or any other materials, that would count towards it. If we stayed extra long, we have our meeting scheduled between 4:30 and 6:30 p.m. If you stayed longer for it, if we went long and you went from 6:30 to 6:45, that amount counts. Any flow over time that you sticked around for, that would count towards it. other things, like if you went, let's say you were appointed to finance committee and you were appointed to the IT council. If you showed up to a different one, let's say that Nohaya, you're best buds with Nohaya, you show up to her team development, that counts. You went to something additional beyond your two committees. Let's say that you're Annette and you're a part of everything on campus. The student parent policy group. You go to that and you weren't, given that extra assignment, then yeah, that counts toward it. That's extra things you did beyond the Senate. That answers some questions out here. I might have missed some things. We don't have a formal list going, but perhaps we'll have that ready by the next meeting. Again, this is for training, so if people make any mistakes, we'll be pretty gracious with it. But with that, we have to move on. So I will stop sharing. Let's go back to our agenda and see where we're at. Oops, I closed that, but that's okay. Next one, prefacing the new 3-year plan. Let's go ahead and share that screen too. This will just be a pretty big discussion about what our 3-year plan is. Where is it? Senate 3-year plan goals. So just as a quick overview, the 3-year plan and budget process, it currently is like a 17-page document that discusses like what the Senate is, what our accomplishments were, what we did through the year, what we're supposed to stand for, any challenges we've had, and where we plan to go. But this is just really our organizational 3-year goals. And because we had a discussion on Blackboard about shared governance and our committee structures, I just kind of wanted to do a quick overview of this. This won't be the only time we discuss it. So if you have more questions about it, this won't be the last that you'll see of it, because we're going to have more activities discussing what our 3-year goals are and what we want to currently accomplish throughout the year. So it's going to be lots of discussions on this. So if you're confused, don't worry. We'll spend a lot of time with it. You don't need to understand everything right now. You can understand things, in pieces and more in the future. But I just thought we were going to go over this. I did send this out to everyone, so you have a copy in your emails, but we're just going to kind of just go over it. I don't know if are we past the point where we like popcorn style? Like, do we want to have other people read it beyond just me? That way I can potentially go get some food from Nohaya, who's delivering it to me. Does someone want to read this? Want to help a president out?
I can read the first one if you
good.
want.
Okay, Cole, were you volunteering?
Yep.
Okay, we'll go with that. Angel, go for it.
Excuse my French, though. Goal number 1, campus. Am I reading that paragraph, or am I going to the strategy number 1?
Or sorry, I'm silent. Yeah, go ahead, read it.
Okay, so goal number 1, campus sustainability operations. The Student Center aims to inspire student, faculty, and staff to create an inclusive community dedicated to creating a sustainable environment for future generations of students of the Madison College campus. Our strategy will focus on 4 main areas of sustainability development. Number 1, expanding our renewable energy profile. Number 2, updating our recycling programs and campus dining services for zero waste goals. Number 3, reevaluating our mobility and transportation strategies. And finally, number 4, developing our sustainable financing and green economic standards.
Thank you, Senator Abdullah. We appreciate. Just as a quick overview, we have that as our goal, right? And we have different strategies for how to accomplish this. So strategy 1 is to do a campus-wide policy review and analysis. Our question is, what current policies exist regarding renewable energy, energy efficiency, recycling procedures, transportation services, and sustainable financing at Madison College? Last year, we wanted to work on a transportation study, but that kind of got, put to the wayside. There's so much data that we didn't understand how to do it. But this year, we don't need to do everything. We just need to start on it. I think that was part of the issue, that we didn't know where exactly to start. Now we have very distinct action steps for how we're going to do it. It starts with just inviting people over. So we're going to start having public comment on energy efficiency and all these other related things. we're not going to read through this now. I'll let you read this through on your own time, but I just wanted to overview it because again, we're going to talk about things more in the future. No quiz right now or anything like that. Might seem like a lot, but we will get to it again. Just trying to do a quick overview when we do a deeper dive later on. The next one is policy update recommendations. So once we put together these reports, we figure out what it is that we really do. Realistically, we're not going to get to step 2. First step on the first year is maybe we'll get through hopefully at least 2 of these action steps. We'll have to really drill down and decide which ones we want to go to. But once we get these, once we learn about what we currently are at, then we make recommendations for where we need to go. So really, it's just trying to understand, what other schools are doing. What is like the national climate looking at? How are we going to get involved at our shared governance and other types of groups that are part of the stakeholders that make these things happen for, climate-related policy, and then, just making recommendations in these groups. So that's generally what we got going on. It's a really big issue to undertake, but I think we're going to try to look at it through the lens of transportation and food waste, because we have a lot of ideas for those 2 particular ideas. We don't need to solve everything, just need to make headway on it. So that's what we got going on. Okay, so the next one. Goodman South and Regional Campus Outreach and Advocacy. Angel, do you want to pick someone else? This is popcorn style. You get to pick any other person other than me, so I can to go read this if you'd like.
Yeah, sure.
Yes,
let's do. Yep.
Oh yeah, just go for it. I think he wanted to raise it.
Senator Camara.
Sorry, excuse me.
We can hear you.
You are being selected to read the next paragraph.
Oh, I see. Sorry, I didn't realize you didn't notice that. Yes. Please read this paragraph right here for us. We're just kind of doing a quick overview.
Let me transfer it to my computer. What's going on?
Okay. Oh, how about you get on your computer? We'll have you do the third one, and then. You ready?
I can.
Oh yeah, I'm trying to transfer it to my computer.
Someone say they wanted to read it. Do we have a volunteer?
Yeah.
Okay. Whoever said yes, go for it.
Okay. Students generally do not have a. Oh my gosh, I'm on my phone. Maybe I can't read it. I can. Hang on.
Okay. Great. Cameron, go for it. I saw your hand.
Students generally do not know as much about the Student Senate as we would like. So we want to focus our energy on expanding awareness to best serve and advocate for the student body. Awareness has been expanded at the Truax campus, but we must increase promotion and outreach at Goodman South and the regional campuses. After expanding awareness of the Student Senate, we want to learn about the issues facing students at different campuses and advocate for improvements. The first strategy is expand in-person / on-campus awareness of the Student Senate at Goodman South and regional campuses. Gather input from other students, as well as creating videos about the Senate that can be shared on social media to generate outreach. Strategy 2 would be identifying areas of improvement for the student experience at Goodman South and regional campuses, which is pretty similar. So first action step there is learn about how class offerings are determined at Goodman South. Determine if there's any flexibility to gather feedback and change future courses. Another step could be host listening sessions or town hall events. We did that a lot last year. Third action step, review data for the student satisfaction inventory conducted in fall 2022 to identify areas of improvements for the student experience at Goodman South and regional campuses. And the last action step was to conduct an audit of services and resources available at different campuses. Use this to inform students about what is available closest to them.
Yeah, thank you. And realistically, what we had going on here is that, we recruited a bunch of senators from regional campuses. So, we have almost a full 5 from our regional campuses: Watertown, Portage, Fort Atkinson. I always forget this one. Reedsburg. and then Goodman South, obviously the last one. But yeah, we have a lot of the members there, and really it's just getting more involved. One of the things that we're talking about this year is collaboration points. We're going to be working with Programming and Activities Council, PAC, to go to these other campuses, and so that we don't have to plan these events ourselves. Last year, we had so much trouble planning events going to these other campuses. They're already going to other campuses. Pang Zhang, who is the advisor for PAC, she just got a full 52-week salary funded by the school. So we're going to be working with her next year so that we can have members of the Senate attend alongside her to go to these events and get feedback from these other campuses. So that's really the biggest way we're going to do that. The other way is doing our Goodman South Town Hall and just really making that a bigger, better event, making sure it's well known, having food, and making sure that people know about it. Advisor Kalia Crypto. Sorry, I think I see. Do you have your hand up? Cole?
Yes, I apologize. I just really wanted to throw out here quick that this is going to be something as we get into the semester that we are going to be charged with, both by Director Rome, but also by myself, that we're doing what we can to connect and collaborate with our satellite and regional campuses. One of the things that we'll be hosting, or I'll be hosting as part of my job as a whole, is professional development opportunities, kind of like a lunch and learn type of aspect to assist our students in learning more about Senate, but also to help them develop professionally as they move forward beyond attending Madison College at either the Truax or any of the regional or other Madison campuses. So I will be reaching out to y'all if y'all have interest in stuff like that. We are trying to get some guest speakers. I have one already set, and we are going to try and take these kind of around so that we can have our representation at these areas known and aware of, so that we can start to solicit and gain interest from other individuals who would like to join Senate in the future. I yield.
Perfect, thank you. I do see hand raises from VP Tao and then VP Hashmi on deck. Yilong?
Oh, my bad, because on my screen, Hashmi is before me. Just one question. So, President, do you have the plan to fill the vacant Watertown seat?
No formal plan now, but a good start. I mean, it's not like we're not like we're going to do nothing, is to go to the campus and learn what's there. I don't really have a connection to Watertown. I don't know much about it, but you're not going to ever fill that seat if you don't actually physically go there. So one of the things is that Pang is back starting on July 1st, I believe. So once I'm back from Indiana, I got to meet with our advisor for Programming and Activities Council. Obviously, our advisor Cole and Ellie, the Director of Student Life, is also in charge. We'll also be in contact with Pang. So, there's a lot of collaboration points we have. So really, we're in the information gathering stage. Do I have anything formal for what we're supposed to do? No. Will we have something in the future? I hope so. That's what I got for you.
Thanks. I do believe if we can get a Watertown Senate, that's actually better for us to connect to this satellite campus.
I like the confidence. That's a good look on you, Yilong. VP Hashmi, what you got for me?
Could you say again the point that when you mentioned about Pang going with 5 other senators, were you talking about the past or something that we're going to do it this year?
Yeah, so ideally, there's something called Campus Fun Days, and we do that on all the campuses. So last year, some of our senators, Giovanni, Maggie, Michael, some other people that you don't know, but like Maggie, and I think it was just Maggie from this past year. And Angel, they both went to the Campus Fun Days where they went to other campuses. They did like tie-dye shirts. They did like food. They did some talking about textbooks and other resources to students, and just connected with students, got some great pictures, made some, passed out some t-shirts, water bottles, and just like walked around and toured the campus, saw what was going on there. So, one is like, if we want to recruit these senators, we have to know what's going on campus. And then 2, we have to like represent ourselves on campus, because we can't just expect them to come to us if we don't reach out to them first. So that's really the perspective that we have going on. If we really want to be representative of all students, we have to go to them, even if it's a little challenging. I live in Madison. The commute's hard, but we can make things easier by, like the student activities fee we're in charge of that, right? Like all the students pay their money in, so we can do programming that's inclusive for everyone. And obviously we have the student activities board to help us, administer that, because Student Senate can't do it all alone. So we need to work together with those groups. We all have the same money. So like we're tied together by finances to do the same thing, which is to make student life better for people. We just have different ways of doing it. And I think Senate can have a better and greater involvement with that. And it's not just for Senate. I think other groups need to do that too. Do we write stories about people at the Watertown campus? Do we write stories about people at Reedsburg or at Portage? Technically, we do write it at Reedsburg because, Sierra, our Senator Brunner, is a writer. So maybe we're covering that. But we don't do nearly enough news coverage there. We don't do nearly enough volunteer center coverage at Reedsburg or at Portage. So maybe we need to be doing more of that. I also see, so does that answer your question, Hassan? Sound good, Hassan?
Yep. Thank you,
there?
Kai. Yep.
Okay, just want to make sure before I go on more of a soapbox. But I see some commentary from Annette. Can't quite read it. Annette, you want to comment? See if I can open this. Oh no, I can't open it on my screen right now. So Annette, you want to say it?
Yeah, I was just saying that we also want to, you already mentioned part of it. We also want to find out what the resources are at the different campuses. Because I think we found out at Reedsburg that they have a number of screens available. And so there's an opportunity potentially to have a staff member or maybe our senator turn on the meetings at that particular campus and then close it down once it's over for the night. So. And maybe the students aren't there, but they might go by in passing and then get curious about, hey, they're talking about students and what is that?
Sorry, you mean the Senate meetings, right?
Yeah, that's correct.
Thanks for holding the fort. I had a dinner delivery. I'm skipping dinner so I can be here. So I luckily got someone to deliver it for me. The free dinner, not paying for that. Thank you very much, everyone, for contributing your ideas on that. We have one more issue, and Ibrima, if you're able to, pick back up, are you able to read this, you think?
Yeah. Okay. So the goal 3 is the alumni relations. Strategy 1, develop initiatives to build relationships with Madison College alumni for the benefit of current students and extending the community to create a legacy of student graduates. So action step, work in partnership with the Madison College Foundation, inviting them to General Assembly meetings to learn more about their operations, services, mission, vision, and strategy goals for the future. So the next one is read documentation and external communications related to Madison College Foundation, as well as comparing research notes to existing college foundations at other colleges of comparable scope, including technical colleges and other local geographical comparisons. So the next steps goes to investigate the potential need to create a position to manage alumni relations on campus.
Thank you for reading that out loud. This one was a new ideal set aside by our president, former president Giovanni Michaud. And obviously a lot of other people thought that too, but it's very uncommon for there not to be an alumni association on campus. That's pretty unique. It's not that we don't have one. We have the Madison College Foundation, which is really more focused on getting money, but we need to be doing the alumni partnerships too. And that's what we wanted to have them. We want to have them come in and ask them, why don't we do this? Is there a way we can start doing it? Because, from the WTCS, 91% of people who graduate from a WTCS school, so Blackhawk Technical College, Madison College, Milwaukee Area Technical College, Fox Valley, Northeast Wisconsin Tech, Northwoods, Northern, Western, Southwest, all these schools, they are mid-state. They have alumni. 91% of them graduate. They have, higher education outcomes. They're able to access, more resources for themselves and their families. They're able to get a job in the industry that they want. These make a big difference for people, and I think they'd be willing to not only, contribute money so that, maybe our schools would be better and we have an investment from the people that went to it, but also, like kind of, foster that sense of like community belonging beyond our college days, not just about the financial thing. It's like we should be proud of having attended Madison College. And our provost, Dr. Beth Giles, is really kind of on board with that. We don't know exactly what she's going to do, but she was made permanent position, no longer interim, and I think she'd be willing to work with us. So, if anyone has any commentary on this one, I know we all had some ideas about the other one. Is everyone generally in agreement? Cole, Vice Crypto, Kelly Crypto.
Sorry to speak so much on this. However, this is going to be something that myself and Director Rome are going to be working on, and so we will be asking for y'all's input and assistance with. In the past year, I worked at my previous institution, and we held a 180-person housing reunion, like alumni social, over a 4-day period. We're not going to that great of an extent. However, we have done those things, and I do have the framework to do those as well as some of the resources, and we will be trying to do that not only for the purpose that is, creating some strong memories and some strong connections, so that we can show the success of what Madison College, but also the Senate has to offer for those who are previously involved, but also create opportunities for hopefully employment opportunities and other interests, specifically if we could get to like internships and stuff. So our focus is less on the money side, more on the connection and the communication side, but we will be soliciting y'all's insight, interest, and maybe some of y'all participation in doing so that we can do that outreach and connection. But that is something that we are going to be moving kind of full bore with as we get into the school year and things are kind of settled down. So the ability to connect there is going to be big, especially if this is something that you are interested in into the future with whatever your career goals are. Thank you.
Thanks for sharing. I see a hand raised from VP Hashmi, and then Senator Crowder on deck.
Catch when we were talking about the alumni, do you mean that we have lack of alumni, or do you mean that we don't get financial support for alumni?
We have a lot of alumni, but we don't have a way to connect alumni with our current school. It's kind of like sometimes you get some email surveys and saying like, thanks for coming to Madison College and stuff like that. But beyond just like the surveys, we need to be doing more to engage our alumni. Or at least that's what Giovanni thought, our president Michaud, and I think so too. And I think a couple other people have that opinion as well. So yeah, there's the financial aspect. I think that if we had them, fund money back into the school, maybe it would make some of our, community better. A place that gave them so much. I think Madison College gave me a lot of opportunity to do a lot of things that I never thought I could. And now here I am doing these things. I never thought I'd be, president of Senate. That's not something I had written on my bingo card for before graduation. But here I am. I'd give $20, twice a year to Madison College. That's $40 more than they had. So like, I don't know, they should ask me. And other people too. So that's how I see it. What were you thinking, Hassan?
No, I was just thinking more financially. Like, I don't know a lot of big people who graduated from Madison College. I did see somewhere online, but I was thinking like we should focus on more people or people who have money and they graduated from Madison College so they could fund Madison College more.
Oh yeah, I agree. And we are doing that now, but it's like we kind of target it more towards our foundation really works on grants. We don't do as much individual donations, but when we bring in the
Yep.
vice president of
Mhm.
foundation, he'll talk more about it.
Yep. I think it's a great idea.
Nice. I got your approval. Love that. Senator Crowder?
So I really love this idea. I think it's important for us to leverage the opportunities that alumni might bring in addition to financial. Um, I noticed that the last scholarship banquet that they had strategically set students with people that they awarded who they received a grant from. And I noticed a couple of them were like, hey, here's my number, call me. You received a grant from us, blah, 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 because they were interested in the same field. And I think that's something that we could do on our own, not just with the scholarship, when it's scholarship time, that twice a year. And then the other thing I wanted to say, what the heck was it? Oh my gosh. was just looking for, I guess it's the same thing, just looking at the career advantages of, oh, I remember what it was. When we went to talk at the Capitol to the different senators, we met a senator, and I can't remember his name because I'm terrible with names, that was a former Madison College student. And I think it would be neat to like have him sometime come and speak to us as a current senator, active senator, so that we can kind of learn more, learn how to focus our attention, how to make things happen.
That was Representative, Wisconsin State Representative Samba Balda. Yeah, he was a former Madison College graduate, as well as Representative Sheila Stubbs also has some Madison College ties. I don't think she graduated, but I think she took some classes at one point. So there's some two people right on there that could come to us. So great ideas. We also did have last year Representative Francesca Hong come to speak to our, a conference that we hosted at school, our WSG conference. We hosted that. We got Francesca Hong, our chief of staff, to come. So really, we have some big name legislators that we can pull. Like that happened because I met her chief of staff at a wedding, and then I asked her, I was bold and asked her to come. Maybe I can, I ran into the mayor at Juneteenth. Maybe the mayor can come meet us. Who knows? So those are ideas. If you have these ideas, you want them to come. Like Hassan, you've shown interest. Maybe we can get the mayor to come in. I don't know. You can start your legislative journey. So.
Yep. Yeah, I agree with that.
These are things to think about, and this is our 3-year plan. So thanks for listening, and we'll talk more about it in the future, but this is what I just wanted to quickly overview. So with that, we can move on to our non-business housekeeping. No non-business housekeeping announcements. Our next meeting will be on Thursday, July 11th. We did update that in the agenda in room C2402 at 4:30 p.m. Fill out the contact info sheet in person, online, or MS chat. I gotta get that to y'all. So something when I get back from Indiana. For next lesson, complete lesson 5 in the Blackboard course, shared governance and college leadership. So we talked about the shared governance position. So we'll be, you'll be able to learn about it as you put in applications for what you want to do. And then after adjournment, stick around for discussions on lesson 4 from Blackboard course. Do we have any other additional announcements? I don't see any hands raised, so I'm going to go ahead and say no. And I do see a hand raised from Senator Wilkin.
Yeah, I see that everyone's virtual today, but we do have, so the presidential debate is tonight on the Wisconsin Democrats organization is hosting an event at Rigby's Bar. So there will be food available for people, not necessarily sure about drinks, but food is definitely available, and you can come watch the debate and have some friendly banter. So all are welcome. We would hope to see everyone there.
Cameron, do you have anything else?
Sorry, in the college, or you mean outside?
Can you repeat the question one more time?
I'm sorry, do you mean in the building, like Madison College, or did you say somewhere outside?
Yep, so it's at Rigby's Bar. I want to say it's downtown, kind of close to the Capitol. I'm not 100% sure. I've never been there myself. I was just going to put it in Apple Maps and figure it out, but if you can totally like text me or call me too. I can drop my number or something if you need it, if you're interested in coming. It's at 7 o'clock.
Yeah, Hassan, it is right next to the Capitol, right across from the Colectivo on the square. I saw a hand raise from
I was just
Senator
curious.
Senator Bissonnette.
Never mind.
Okay. Anyone else? Well, we were looking for a motion to adjourn.
I move to adjourn.
Second.
Motion made by Senator Crowder, second by Senator Avila, I think I heard. So, yep, it's been probably moved and seconded. All those in favor of adjourning, say aye.
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 Damn, I didn't think I heard a lot of people. We might not need to adjourn if I don't hear more people say yes.
me answer that for you, Kai.
Let me raise up my hand.
Okay. Okay. We had our fun. Okay, all those opposed? Annette, you can put your hand down. I'm not including you for that. And then any abstentions? Okay, seeing none, this meeting is adjourned at 6:07 p.m. Is that correct? What time are we at? It's hard to tell with my 6:07 for you.
It's correct.
Okay, sorry, my time zone's all messed up. So 6:07 p.m. Thank you very much.
Yep.
Adjourned. Please stick around for the Blackboard course. Cole will make it quick, I'm sure. Well, you can stop recording, Cole, too. I don't know.